Sean from Ace Appliance in Toledo, Ohio. Welcome back to another in-home diagnostic video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Okay, complaint is that the oven is taking too long to reach temperature. First thing I want to do, just make sure that we do have a gas supply. Easiest thing is just to pick a burner. Obviously it lights up. I know I have gas going to the range. What I like to do now is, I know that there are two things that are going to regulate temperature. You have a sensor and you have an ERC. So I'm going to pull the unit out to get to the wiring. I'm going to ohm out the sensor because I know at room temperature it's going to be approximately 1100 ohms. And so that way I don't heat the oven up and then throw that number off. I can check that right away. So I'm going to slide the unit out. I find it easier to just grasp inside the range. And before I pull it all the way out, I'm going to look at the flex line, make sure I have enough room, which I do. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn it so we can maybe get to the back of the unit here a little easier. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and unplug the unit just so that way I don't injure myself. Now I'm going to check the resistance of the temperature sensor. I grab my multimeter. I'm going to set it to ohms. So I want to check the resistance. And at room temperature, go ahead and get the sensor open. And I'm going to put my, alright, so I got my sensor isolated. I'm going to put my meter leads inside of here. And let's see if we can get our reading here. Okay. And you can see it's reading at 1070, 1071, 1070. Room temperature should be about 1100, so we are in the normal range. We'll go ahead and connect our sensor back together. And since I checked the sensor, I wanted to do that since I knew 1100 is room temperature. Now we can fire up the stove and see, make sure it is firing and functioning as it should be. So go ahead and plug it back in. And then I'm going to just turn the stove around so I can get to the front. I don't need to push it all the way back in yet because I may have to pull it back out. We'll just get it here so I can work on it. I'm going to go up here to our, since we unplugged it, it's flashing as if there's a power failure. I'm just going to cancel that so it stops now so I can operate. I'm going to put it at bake. It's at 350, that's fine. I'm going to press the start. And then we're going to make sure that the oven comes on and it starts to heat. Alright, I'm just going to open up the oven. I just want to verify that there's nothing inside of here that can get our maybe catch on fire in case something was left in there while we turn on the oven. So that looks good. I'm going to pull out the drawer now. Alright, so our igniter is glowing. See the glow? So our igniter is on, our gas valve just is not opening at the current time. So I'm going to get back to the back of the unit so I can get to the gas valve and I can inspect that and see what's going on with the gas valve. So I'm going to go ahead and put the drawer back in. I'm going to go ahead and hit the cancel button on the range. I'm going to go ahead and just turn off the range at the time. Now I'm going to pull it back out, get to the back side again so I can get to the gas valve. Alright, I'm going to go ahead, I want to access my gas valve, which appears to be right down in this area here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the screws here and go ahead so I can access that. So I'll go ahead and do Phillips. Appears that there's some at the bottom as well. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect power again because I just want to go ahead and just ohm out the valve, check the resistance of that, make sure that that the valve isn't the problem. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect the wire on the valve, just so that way I can isolate the electrical flow. Scoop this one up a little bit so I can get to a terminal. Alright, so I have my meter. I'm just going to check the resistance. Okay, so that tells me that electrically the valve should be sound. So what we'll do is I'm going to plug it back in. I'm going to go ahead and check, make sure I get power to it, and see what's going on from there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn the oven back on now with everything exposed. Get back down here. So that way I can check for voltage and see what kind of voltage we have going to our valve. Alright, we had good voltage. We just heard the burner ignite. Reason was on the regulator here, there's a safety shut-off switch that was flipped. So I went ahead and flipped it while the igniter was on, and now we have ignition. Okay, this was our problem here. You got a little safety here that will shut off the gas supply. It's now in the open position. We found it in the close. I'm going to go ahead and close it. But you can, I don't know if you can hear, but the burner is on. So we're going to flip it. And there's no more hiss. No more gas is being supplied to the oven there. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it back. And it just ignited again. So that was our problem right there. It must have got bumped during installation. But now the oven is heating. I'm going to go ahead and put the cover back on here. Put the unit back in position. And we'll go from there. Right, we're going to go ahead and put our cover back on. Make sure our gas line and all of our wires, there's nothing getting pinched or anything. We don't want to over tighten it. Just get it snug. It's not doing anything other than just protecting wiring. Alright, so we have that all hooked back up. Now we can go ahead and push our stove back in. We're going to reset the clock from us disconnecting power. The time is probably off. Alright, so obviously it's heating. We're going to go ahead and cancel, get to our clock, synchronize our swatch watches. We ready? 11, 24, and we're back in business. Thank you for watching another quality in-home diagnostic video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.